Even if everything's going well with the kids, life can still be stressful. And kids just add to that because you have to put their needs before your own all the time.
There's this running list in your head of a million and one things like, okay, but the peanut butter is almost empty, so we have to go get that. And then you add that on top of parenting kids, and it just can be a lot, even though it's unseen.
If you're tired and you are working and you come home, try to start the energy in the house, set the narrative for joy, playing with them for 5 minutes or something as soon as you get in the door. It tends to set the tone for the night. Welcome to the Bratbusters Parenting Podcast. My name's Lisa Bunnage. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mom. I'm also a grandmother.
And I'm Amy Bunnage, Lisa's daughter, and I handle the marketing and planning here at Bratbusters. While I don't have kids, each episode will dive into parenting topics and Lisa will answer your questions. Let's get started.
Okay, sweetie, what are we talking about today?
Today's topic is, are your kids stressing you out?
Everyone goes, yup.
No, actually, zero stress.
Total joy. It's like Zen being home with my kids all day. Just zenning out. Okay. Are your kids stressing you out? Very good topic. Very pertinent, very common that kids are going to stress you out. Even if, now I would say I really kind of nailed the whole respect thing with my kids. So I didn't deal with a lot of discipline stuff, but still parenting's a lot of work. Like you can never just get up and think, what do I want to do today? It's always getting up and looking after their needs. So even if you do have all of that leadership in place, it's still a lot of work. You got a lot to think about. This is why they say moms are good at multitasking, or women are better at it than men. I've heard this anyway. I don't know if it's still true because they say multitasking is horrible for you. But there used to be this theory out there that the reason why women were better at multitasking, and probably just the simple things, not the real thinking stuff, right, is because we're the ones who are sort of give birth to the kids and we have to do 10 things at once. So we're breastfeeding while we're making breakfast, and we have to learn to do that sort of stuff. It's just the way we are. But I would say parenting can be stressful even if the behavior is all sorted out. Even if you're not dealing with bad behavior, it can still be stressful because it is a lot of work. You always got to put these little beings before yourself. You've always got to think about not only your needs, but their needs. And so even if you are, a really good leader, it's still, there's some stress involved in life in general too.
There is a conversation going on online about the mental load as well, of being like a primary caregiver at home, or just in general, like looking after kids. It's the idea of, okay, so you know what their allergies are, and you know exactly what broken water bottle you have to fix, and there's like this running list in your head of like a million and one things, like, okay, but the peanut butter is almost empty, so we have to go get that. And then you add that on top of parenting kids, and it just can be a lot, even though it's unseen.
Well, and that's the thing too, is what you see is not always what's going on, right? So what's that, the iceberg thing, where what you see, there's a lot more going on under the water. So, but yeah, I would say that there is some stress no matter there's stress in life anyway. I think we're trying to do too much these days. We're trying to wear too many hats, and maybe not trying to, but maybe we have to. And so I guess what I'm saying here is that even if you're struggling with your kids' behavior, even if you're not, there still can be stress in just general life. You may be having issues with your marriage or health problems, but those kids always need taken care of. No matter what you've got to deal with, you're still dealing with your kids. I remember I was very lucky, actually. My mother got dementia, and I think my kids were about, let me think now, they would have been like 13 maybe, and 14 and 9 and 18. So they were older. So I was able to go and visit her a lot. She had to go into a care home because she could never be left alone. And she was lovely, but she had dementia. She couldn't, she didn't know if she'd turned on the kettle. She wouldn't have known to pay attention to that. So, but I remember thinking, wow, this would have been a lot harder if my kids were younger. So a lot of parents are dealing with that stuff. They might be caregivers for their parents too. And then they have kids. So even if you haven't got the behavioral stuff as an issue, there's other stuff that gets in the way. So life is busy, and we do it to ourselves too. We think that we have to schedule a lot of things. I think we expect too much from ourselves, I think.
Okay, we'll go into the questions. So we have Cami from the United States. My 16-month-old loves to play when we chase. Or loves when we play chase. We pretend to be monsters and she runs off laughing and screaming. One of her favorite games, and we played often. The issue is she's now started running away during non-play times too. Like when I need to pick her up for meals, diaper changes, or getting in the car. She thinks it's part of the game and bolts. How can I help her understand the difference when we're playing and versus when I need her to cooperate and stay put?
Well, wear underpants on your head. The reason why I'm saying that is I used to do that with my kids, but I called myself the panty monster. So every time I was doing the laundry, I'd put underpants on my head and I was the panty monster. So that sort of sparked the game, was the fact when mom comes out with panties on her head, the game's on. But so have some symbol, like you wear your chasing hat or something different, where if you're wearing that hat, then the game is on. Okay, you don't have to wear panties on your head, but I often tell that story. Yeah, I was the panty monster, and the leg holes were my eye holes, and I would chase them around the house. I never did it with the kids together. It was only when they were little each. Because by the time she came along, my son was older and he wasn't into that. So I did it with them each when they were toddlers.
12-year-old boy. He's like, Mom.
Mom, enough. He was about 16 or 17, and I hadn't done that in years. And he had some friends over in the rec room. Well, in order to do the laundry, I had to go through the rec room. And while I was picking up the laundry out of the dryer, I thought, put the panties on my head. And I took and I just walked past the rec room, past all him and his friends. And his friends were like, what the heck? These panties on my head. And my son just said as casually as ever, he says, Mom, enough with the panty monsters.
Would have been something like, give her no attention. That's
Yeah,
what she's wanting.
I know, I was terrible. I was always goofy. So, but yeah, have a visual cue that this is the chase thing. So that's an easy one, actually. That won't work right away, but eventually she'll catch on.
The next one is Elizabeth from the United States. I've implemented all of your methods with my kids. My struggle right now is I give my kids 15 minutes to complete their routines, such as getting ready for the day or for bed. I set the timer and they fool around playing for the first 10 minutes. Then they quickly get their things done with the last 5 minutes. Sometimes getting it all done before the time goes off, but sometimes not. It stresses me out so much, the whole 15 minutes, I'm so angry with them for not getting it done. I've had to move from just doing the positive consequence like a chore to doing media blackout because of how often this is occurring. Sorry, I'm giggling because Mom giggled and now, okay. I hate media blackouts because it affects my day when they can't have that 30 minutes of screen time, but I always follow through. Kids are 3 and 6.
Okay. I was laughing because I can't take it anymore, so I don't even do the first consequence. Yeah, it's stressing you out when it shouldn't. Just let them do whatever they're going to do. If they don't start for, like, let's say it should only take them 10 minutes, just set a 10-minute timer. And then you only have to control yourself for 10 minutes. Who cares if they procrastinate? That's up to them, so long as they get it done before the timer goes off. So then when the timer does go off and they haven't finished, then you just say, oh, let's go to the board. And then you follow through with the consequence. Don't do the media blackout right away. You're just panicking. That's all. It looks like you're going, oh, God, I can't take this anymore. And you're just going, media blackout. That's it. No video games for a month. You're just going overboard. You're letting your emotions get in the way, basically. So, yeah, it just struck me as funny because I can see that. You set the timer and they're procrastinating. I can just see your face.
Elizabeth, I can somewhat relate.
I can see the jaw like clenching.
I'm not a huge procrastinator, but maybe somebody else is.
Okay, I'm the procrastinator in the family and I drive her insane. We could never work together. Like we work in the same company, but we don't work together. But a good example of that was she was editing something and she had to sit at my desk here. And so she was editing something. She goes, Mom, while I'm doing this, go on your phone and check out the video that I edited, whatever. She gave me something to do. So I have a sunroom here and that's actually my sewing room. And so she looks over and she goes, Mom, what are you doing? And I looked all guilty and I said, I'm darning a sock. She'd given me something to do, but I was darning a sock instead. So yeah, she's more the mother in this relationship. Well, no, I'm mom, but she's more the leader in a lot of ways. She's the organized one that never procrastinates. I procrastinate to the very last minute and I try and make it sound cute. Last minute, Lisa. There's nothing cute about it. I'm a pain in the butt. But anyway, I'm trying to get better. So yeah, it does drive her nuts. She probably looks at me the way you look at your kids.
Sorry, I just needed to get that out. I feel much better now.
Yeah, it was funny.
Okay.
We're very aware. We're very self-aware, both of us.
We are. Okay, we have Katrina from Australia. My daughter will be 1 year old next month. She bites me quite a lot now and it really hurts. How do you think I can handle this?
You divert, and you also, if they go to bite, you just stop it, you say no, and then you redirect. So you divert their attention somewhere else. So that's all you can do at 11 months. She's still a baby. They're babies up until about 15, 16 months. So yeah, she's still a baby. You just tell her no, though. But you never say no to a baby where they cry. You just let her know, no. And then she can tell by your serious look on your face that you don't like that. And then you redirect. And don't let her keep biting you. Like if she bites you once, prevent future bites in that moment because they'll keep trying. But you don't want to let them get any more bites in that session.
Okay, we have Anna from the United States. What do I do with my 20-month-old girl who yell cries my name almost the entire time while riding in the car?
Oh, I would just be looking. I'd talk to myself. Oh, lovely trees out there. Oh, isn't that beautiful out there? Oh, are we going to go to the park later? And I just talk as if I'm in total control. Don't give her any control. Should I start that again? You know what happened? I said, "You look around." And then I turned my mouth away from the microphone. And she keeps telling me, "Mom, put your mouth on the mic and leave it there." And I keep turning around. So, yeah, but anyway, keep going on with your own narrative. You control the energy, you control the narrative. So she's trying to control you. You take control. Don't show that I was going to say, don't let it bother you. Don't show that it bothers you. And just say, "Oh, what a beautiful day out there." And then you might try and connect with her. You try and talk to her. No, oh, do you want to? Oh, we're going to go to the park later. And then she keeps saying, but just keep talking. Just control yourself, and she'll burn out. She'll get tired of doing that.
Okay, we have Chloe from the United Kingdom. My 3-year-old son whinges constantly. From the moment he wakes up, literally, we hear a long whinge. He then talks baby voice whining a lot. I try and ignore him when he does it or say I can't hear him until he uses his big voice. He also lays around a lot and whinges on the floor. It's draining.
Well, whinging is whining. I raised my kids in Australia, and whining is called whinging over there. So you're from the UK. It's the same thing. Yeah. Okay. So he's just whining all the time. I don't quite know why. What's the payoff? He's 3. There has to be a payoff for that. It must either annoy you and you show it, or you give him attention when he does it. He's 3. I would say to him, from now on, when you whine, I will never talk to you when you're whining. You will be ignored while you're whining. Okay. But if you talk nicely, I will answer you, but the answer may still be no. So then, and they don't always know when they're whining. So have a visual cue. You can say, when I touch my nose like this, it means you are whining and you will be ignored. You only do that once in a session. Like if he starts whining, you don't do it every 5 seconds while he's whining. You just do it once while he's whining. So yeah, and then you just ignore him. But you got to go in fast when he talks nice. As soon as he talks nice, you go, yes. So you got to show them right away that they will lean away from what doesn't work and they'll lean into what does. But it takes time. By the way, you've taught him to do that because there has to be a payoff. There's no way he'd be doing that if there wasn't a payoff. I've seen parents who say, well, we never give it any attention. And if I'm around them, they always do. Yeah. They'll say, I said enough wine. Remember, I won't talk to you if you see is talking. That is giving them attention. That's why I say you use a visual cue. You touch your nose and then you look away. Don't give them any attention after that.
Okay, we have Skylar from the United States. My son is 2.5, my daughter is 5. They constantly fight. Do I put away a toy every single time they argue over it? They also fight over physical space, so touching each other on the couch, poking, sometimes even just the other looking at them starts a screaming match. Looking for some help to create an enjoyable sibling cohabitation.
That takes time, but yeah, it is often a look and it's very antagonistic and it does annoy the other one. And often parents go after the wrong one. They often go after the one that hits, but that's often in retaliation for a look or something else. What I would do is I would say, okay, so if you can't get along, you come with me for 5 minutes and you take the other one and they can just be in the kitchen while you're washing dishes or something. And you time it. Then when the bell goes, then you put them back together. Or you might want to draw a double line with masking tape or something down the center of a playroom or wherever they're playing. And you say, this is your side, that's your side. Why would I say a double line? And make sure there's a foot between them, because a line is very arguable. It can be on the line. No, it was on the line. But if there's 2 lines, they can't argue that. It's very hard to cross a whole foot and then argue that, right? So you can try that too. So when you put them back together, you have the double line. They have to play separately. The idea is they get tired of being separated. So then you take turns. If you're separating them, you take one with you, then you put them back with the double line. If they start fighting again, you take the other one, and you do this every 5 minutes. It is hard, but you got to invest in this stuff up front and it'll pay off later. I always say it's short-term pain for long-term gain. Parents are so busy training them not to fight, but rather than training them to get along too. So another thing that you might want to do is whenever you're playing with them, you're playing something that they could be doing on their own, and you're there and you're sort of the umpire of the play, like you're sort of controlling it. So you're showing them how to play also. They often don't know how to play well together. So you want to spend time doing that also. But yeah, that double line, that single line's often fought over, but a double line, they can't fight over it. Like it's really hard to fight over that if there's a foot between the two lines.
I forget which show it was, but it would have been like The Simpsons or something like that. And I remember it showed siblings fighting and the older sibling went and like tried to touch, but like pretended to touch the younger sibling but wasn't.
Oh,
And
that
it's like
not touching,
not
not
touching.
touching. That was Bart Simpson with his sister.
I remember that and I just remember the look on my brother's face like, "Oh, oh, this is
This is gold.
this is what we shall be doing."
And I remember, and they got along really well. But I remember in the car, every time we'd get in the car after school, they would start this yelling match. Like it was like they were having fun, but it was wild, and they weren't usually like that. But when he was doing that, he was not touching. She'd be smashed up against her car door trying to get away from him, and he was like 1 centimeter away from her, just sort of wiggling his finger. I'm not touching her, Mom. I'm not touching her. And then I remember though, I pulled over. If they ever argued in the car, I'd just pull over, get out, and wait 5 minutes, and then that was just how I disciplined them. And I remember I did that, and then the next day they didn't even talk to each other in the car, and I thought, oh, I get it. That's how they say hello. They were having fun. So she was loving it. She was laughing. She was having a great time. But I'd never heard them being loud like that together. So I thought they were kind of fighting, but they weren't. They were loving it.
I'm just guessing that the writer of that episode was like not maybe didn't have kids yet and didn't know the repercussions of that.
Oh, I think they knew. I think they thought, oh, this is going to be great.
Families across the world.
Another show that I didn't watch a lot at the time, but I've seen the odd episode. It was brilliant. Was Malcolm in the Middle. And it had four brothers. One was away at some academy or something, and the three younger brothers were at home. They were the most devious. And the father was just a real dimwit. Who was that? The actor was the one from that
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. Yeah, that guy. That's where he got his start, was on Malcolm in the Middle. If you want to get a laugh over family dynamics being so messed up, and the mother was always yelling, and it was hilarious.
It's fantastic.
It was a really good show, but there was a lot of kids got ideas from that show too. And I think that the people who wrote that, they were getting a kick out of that.
Yeah. Okay, the next question is Norma from South Africa. Hello, please can you talk about how to handle a toddler who's now 2 years and 6 months who only wants daddy? Daddy's exhausted and irritable, mummy is sad. If you've already talked about it, please direct me to that link. I value your advice.
Okay, thanks, Norma, for saying you value my advice. I don't know if I can help you too much with this one, other than the fact that if they just want dad, but I'm confused here. Does he want dad because he wants to be in control of who's giving him a bath and all that sort of stuff? Or does he want dad who doesn't have time for him? Those are two different things, right? Did you get a feeling for which one that was?
I think it might be helpful to address both.
Okay, I'll address both. If they are just going, oh no, I want dad to give me a bath, I would say you're stuck with me, so deal with it. Like, in other words, don't let them control that stuff. But if dad isn't spending enough time with him, put dad on the behavior board, and every single night he has to play hide and seek or tag or play whatever with that kid every single day for 10 minutes. Chances are he'll start enjoying it. So yeah, you got to force dad to start spending time with his kid if he's not, because that's part of fatherhood, right? You want to spend time playing with them, but find something that, and make dad feel good about it. You don't want to make him feel bad about it. Just say, no, I know you find his game's boring or whatever, but how about you play hide and seek? Or you can just basically, if dad's tired, you know what I used to do with my kids when I was tired? I did this more with my son. When he was really little, is I would lay on the floor and I would put his toys, like his his car sets, the tracks, all over my body, and I was the mountain. So I would literally lay there and have a nap, and he would be playing, and I would be the mountain, and he'd drive his cars over. But I would put a blanket on first, I think, so it looked like a mountain. Anyway, I had it all figured out. So dad could try something like that. You know, if he is really tired, he could have a nap, and he's the mountain that the kid's driving the toys over. So he could still be involved. You don't have to be, if he's not animated and not into it and he's tired, find ways of including him without him having to be awake even, if it's that difficult for him. So did that address both those? Okay.
We have Brianna from the United States, and this is the final question. How to manage my 2.5-year-old daughter who's always doing the opposite of what I just asked her to stop doing.
Oh, she's doing the opposite of what you, yes, well, to make it happen. Like if you say, be ready for it though. Like, let's say that they're playing and you want to get going. You say, okay, so put your toy away. We're going to go now. And she says, no, you go over, you take her toy from her, put it away, and then you cart her under your arm and get going. So she's only 2.5. You follow up a request, and it's something that needs to be done, right? You have to go, you have to get her to bed. You follow it up with action. You physically overpower them if they don't want to go. You pick them up, in other words. If they don't want to get in a car seat, okay, time to get in the car seat. No, put her in the car seat. You see, you got to follow it up with actions. It's not words. Don't try and talk her into it. Once she said no, she's in control. But you take control by making it happen anyway. But be ready for it. Don't say something unless you're ready to roll up your sleeves and cart her off if you have to go with her. Okay, that was good. That was stressing you out, parenting. And as I said, I think it was really important to realize that even if everything's going well with the kids, life can still be stressful. And kids just add to that because you have to put their needs before your own all the time. It's just the way it is because they're innocent, and they need you to take care of them. So yeah, don't expect stress to go away completely. I did enjoy parenting, but I must admit I didn't work. I stayed at home. Made a huge difference. But most of my families do work. Both parents work, so I'm used to dealing with this a lot. And you have to find moments. And you also, if you're tired and you are working and you come home, try to start the energy in the house, set the narrative for joy, and that's when playing with them for 5 minutes or something as soon as you get in the door. And it just tends to set the tone for the night. But yeah, stress is just part of life. You can't avoid it, but you can try and manage it. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back again another time, and happy parenting. Bye now.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're ready to dive deeper, check out bratbusters.com to learn more about the behavior board, parenting courses, and private one-on-one coaching with Lisa. If you've enjoyed the show so far, we'd love it if you could take a moment to follow, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more parents just like you. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional advice. Lisa is a parenting coach, mom, and grandmother. She is not a licensed psychologist or counselor. Her services do not replace the care of psychologists or other healthcare professionals. For a full disclaimer, please visit bratbusters.com/disclaimer.